Hello everybody, it's Miss O'Brien. Well, I've come outside for my daily exercise that we're allowed to do, and I thought that while I was out I would set you a challenge, but before then I'm going to read you a faction book. This is called Insect Detective by Steve Vogt. Now it's a story with lots of facts in it as well. We'll listen to it, we'll share it together, and then afterwards I'm going to set you a challenge. Okay, so here we go. Insect Detective by Steve Vogt. Right now, all around you, thousands of insects are doing strange and wonderful things, but you can't always see them straight away. Sometimes you have to know where to look. I didn't know this fact. There are more insects living in the world than all other species put together. That's 2 million insects for every single person that lives in our world. So for each of you, there's 2 million insects. Listen, if we go by the fence, you can hear a scratching sound. It's the sound of a wasp scraping away at the post with her strong jaws, and she's collecting wood. She mixes the wood into a soft pulp in her mouth, and when she has enough, she helps the other wasps to build a paper nest. Not all kinds of wasps live together, but lots of them do. Can you see in this picture? The nest is stripy. This is a fact. Okay. Wasps often collect different sorts of wood, which makes their nests look stripy, just like the insects who made them. Insects that live together are called social insects. Ants always live together. They usually make their nests underground, and finding an ant's nest is really easy to do. You just find an ant, follow the ant. He might stop along the way to have a chat to another ant. Yes, that's right, ants talk to one another. They communicate by touching their antennae together. But after a while, an ant will head home and you'll be able to find out where it lives. This is a fact. Are you ready? Like all insects, ants have 3 main parts to their body: the abdomen, the thorax, and their head. Solitary bees live by themselves. Solitary means alone. This female solitary bee is busy collecting food from spring flowers. She'll store it in her tiny nest, ready for when her egg hatches out. You see, because bees, you always see bees going from flower to flower to flower, don't you? All insects start life as an egg. Solitary bees make their holes or nests in the ground, or cracks in the wall, or tiny cavities that have been left by other insects. I bet if I carried on walking along this wall here, I might find some little holes where ants or bees might be living. Plenty of animals do like to eat insects for dinner. Some insects are really clever. They use something called, can you guess what they use so that they can't be seen? That's it, they use camouflage, and it helps them to blend in with their surroundings. Look at this crinkly brown leaf. Can you see? Can you see a crinkly brown herald moth too? They often rest in the trees during the day so that the birds won't see them. Insects have other ways of hiding too. See these squidgy lines on this leaf? Well, these were made by leaf miner caterpillars. The leaf miner caterpillar protects itself by living between the layers of the leaves, a bit like hiding in a sandwich. Imagine hiding in a sandwich. Where else might you find animals? Lift up a stone and you might see an earwig scuttle out. They like to hide in dark, damp places. The pincers on the top of their abdomens may make them look rather fierce, but don't worry, earwigs are completely harmless. You want some facts about earwigs? Female earwigs are very good mothers. They work hard to keep their eggs clean, turning and washing them regularly. And when the young hatch, their mothers bring them food until they're old enough to look after themselves. It's nice to think about animals being mothers too and looking after them, because sometimes we don't like insects. But if you think about it, they're all God's creatures and they take care of one another. Of course, you might find some creatures under there which aren't insects. These creatures are not insects, because remember, insects have 3 parts: spiders, centipedes, slugs, woodlice. Once I found a baby frog. It's easy to tell whether something is an insect or not. All you have to do is count the legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it's got 6 legs, it's an insect. If it hasn't, it isn't. How many legs do spiders have? That's how you know whether it's an insect or not. If you're lucky, you might even find a violet ground beetle gleaming in the sunlight. It's like discovering a precious jewel. Look at that, can you see it? Wow. But ground beetles aren't just lovely to look at, they're excellent hunters too, and at night they go hunting for slugs and snails, which makes the gardeners very happy. Why do you think it makes the gardeners very happy that the beetles hunt for slugs and snails? Perhaps the greatest insect hunters of all is the dragonfly. Even its name sounds fierce, dragonfly. But don't worry, they won't come chasing after you. Dragonflies are much more interested in catching things like bluebottles, mosquitoes and midges. Some will even snatch a spider from its web. I didn't know that. On summer days when the air is still, you can see the wings sparkling in the light as they hunt, twisting and diving and plucking flies from the air. Ready for some facts about dragonflies? Have you seen a dragonfly before? This is a dragonfly. They're beautiful, they have long, thin bodies, little wings. Dragonflies are fabulous flyers. They have 2 sets of powerful wings that they can use to hover, change direction, and they can even fly backwards. You often find dragonflies by water. It's hard to believe that they started life in the water. Let me see. This is a pond with lilies on the top, and these are the stems and the dragonflies are there. Dragonfly nymphs are the young, wingless versions of adult dragonflies. Dragonflies lay their eggs in ponds or slow-moving rivers where they hatch out into small dragonfly nymphs. That's a good word for you to remember, isn't it? Nymphs. A nymph is a baby dragonfly. A nymph sheds its skin many times until it's fully grown. They climb out of the water and rest on the stem of the plant. As the dawn breaks, its skin splits open and a beautiful dragonfly emerges, unfolding its wings and letting itself dry in the sun. Last year we hatched some caterpillars, and the butterflies that hatch from caterpillars, they do the same thing. They crawl out of the chrysalis and they let their wings dry in the sun. Hopefully if we get back to school in time we can grow some butterflies this year. The special changes that take place in insects' bodies are called metamorphosis. They happen in different ways as an insect grows from an egg to an adult. Can you think of any other animals that metamorphosize, that change from one thing to another, born as a baby looking like something and then changes to look like something else as an adult? Sometimes when you think about these strange and wonderful things, moths hiding, ants talking, dragonflies changing, it's hard to believe that they could be really could be true. But don't take my word for it. Have a look for yourself. All you have to do is open your door and step outside. Now, that's my challenge to you. We're not allowed to go out and see our friends or go to our friends' houses. We're not even allowed to come to school at the moment. But we are allowed to go out for a little bit of exercise with our families each day. And my challenge to you is to go outside on your walk for your daily bit of exercise, lift up a stone or have a rummage through the leaves and see if you can find any of these amazing insects and be an insect detective. I'd love it if you could take some photos of them on your phones and upload them to the blog, or just in the comments below tell me what you've seen while you've been out on your exercise. Hopefully we'll be back together soon, children. Enjoy, happy bug hunting, go out and be an insect detective. Bye.